Mayor sends his apologies. He's not going to be able to make it. He had a couple of conflicting meetings.
Okay, and I know Artie Kasimis couldn't make it, so I
Ed,
think we need one
Ed,
more
Ed,
for
yeah,
quorum.
Ed Camacho said he could.
Mhm.
Yep. And I did not see a response from Anne either way. I may have missed it.
And said
Now that
she
you,
might not, it'd be hard for her to come. She emailed Lola and myself that she doesn't think she can make it.
it's, I
So
have,
our only hope is Ed. I'll text
Yeah,
Ed.
thank you, Irene,
You're
because I don't have his
welcome.
contact information.
I'm gonna send him another invite just in case. Ecam Law, right? That's his other one.
Hmm.
No response. I'm gonna call him.
Okay, thank you.
And Irene, you can tell him I sent the new invite to both emails.
This is a first for me on this board where we maybe haven't had a quorum.
Me too, I think.
And if that's the case, I believe we
Are you at
reschedule, correct?
You got to give a certain time frame, I think.
Yeah, that date's got to be posted. I know we need 7 days before we can reschedule.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue timing wise is the fire department section.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Irene will browbeat Ed into attending.
So Ed wasn't planning on joining. Something came up, but because there's no quorum, he's gonna join by phone. He's gonna dial in right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know the mayor has several things going on, graduation and stuff and meetings and crazy.
It's that time of year for everyone.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think we have Ed, who is off of my link, so
Yep.
Ed Camacho, if you could just update your name.
Yeah, this is Ed. I'm here.
Okay, great.
Okay, you're showing up as me because I sent you my link, so if you could just change your name on that.
Oh, how do I do that?
Are you on your phone? You should be able, well, I guess there's no right clicking on your phone. But you should be where it says my name, just touch that and then see if it gives you
Okay.
the option to say rename.
Okay, oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, hold on one sec.
You can do it too, Tom, as the host.
Oh, that's right, I can, yeah.
Probably
You could do
easier
it
for
too?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like being you though, Tom. That's okay.
I don't mind. I think you have a bit more prestige in the city than I do.
I don't know about that.
You want me to you want me to do it from my
Yeah,
end?
yeah, because I'm not sure that
Okay,
it's, the name is not showing up where,
all right, I got it. I got it. All right, and thank you for my monthly Zoom lesson, Irene.
Okay, so
All right.
Tom, if you'll go ahead and start the recording, we'll get going.
Okay, YouTube's good and Zoom is good.
All right, good evening and welcome to the June 3rd regular meeting of the Board of Estimate and Tax. Madam Clerk, may I get you call a roll, please?
Mr. Abrams,
Here?
Mayor, I'm sorry, Mayor Rilling, Mr. Abrams,
Here?
Mr. Camacho,
I'm here.
Mr. Constant,
Here.
Mr. Jelleret,
Here,
Mr. Cassinis, Miss Yang. We have 4. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from May 6th. Can I get somebody to move that for discussion and approval?
so move, Troy.
Thank you, Troy. Any changes, amendments to the minutes as presented in our package? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The minutes are approved. There are no special appropriations tonight, so we'll move directly to the transfer agenda, which starts on page 10 of our package. Can I get somebody to please move the transfers for discussion?
So move, Troy.
Thank you, Troy. All right, Tom, you want to walk us through the transfers?
Sure. The first group to go is the police department. Nothing from contingency. This is all within the police department. A little bit of housekeeping before year end as normal, and we've got Mickey Dosmo and Melissa Evans Lepore on the line to walk us through this one.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for hearing my monthly redistribution of funds. Really nothing significant this month. This is just, like Tom said, some housekeeping so I can get the funds into an account where I can use it for various purposes, equipment, firearm related, folks in the academy and so on and so forth. What I always say is Tom helps us with this and we do the best we can, but this was budgeted a year and 8 months ago. So we're again juggling to make sure we can efficiently take care of our needs. The department as a whole is not in trouble in any way financially. We're in the black. So this is just, like I said, a bunch of minor accounts going to an operating account where if we have an emergency, we can spend the money.
Thank you.
That's
Any
the long and
questions?
short of it.
Yep. Any questions for Mickey on any of the transfers? Okay. I'm going to suggest we move the transfers all at once, if that's acceptable to everybody. So Tom, let's go ahead to the fire department transfers.
Yeah, there's only 2 more sections, fire department and health department. Yeah, the next one is the fire department. Well, I'll let you, what do we got here? We got a Assistant Chief Mark Conti on the line. He can walk us through these. I think they're similar to what we've had before in terms of motor vehicle parts, which has been a challenge for most of this fiscal year. But take it away, Mark.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Good evening, committee members. So these are, just like Tom said, pretty straightforward transfers. Our first ones for we had one of our fire engines had an engine issue, pretty severe engine issue. So that $20,000 is going to cover that expense. The second one is just for various parts that we, obviously because of the price increase in parts. And the third is to cover our fuel costs just for the remainder of the operating budget.
Any questions for Mark on any of these proposed transfers?
Just real quick, the one you said that was 20,000 for one of the trucks. I'm just curious, what was the history of that truck?
That's actually it's our 2018 engine, a Broad River engine 1. It developed an issue with the engine, and basically coolant got into the engine, so we had to go bring it up to Cummins Diesel in Rocky Hill, and they rebuilt the part that I actually have the bit over here. They did quite a bit of work, but they rebuilt the part that caused made that issue. So we caught it before a very major issue like the engine block cracking. So it was actually a catch, even though it's costly catch. It still would have been much worse.
And I assume you found out why that happened, right?
Yeah, what Cummins does, that's why we send it to them. They do a full diagnostic test on it, and they test all the fluids. So they give us a printout report. It's unfortunately not in layman's terms, it's in mechanic terms. So it's a bit wordy, but basically they found the issue. It was I believe it was a seal that went and got some and infiltrated the pistons. So they fixed it though before we had a major issue with the engine.
We don't have a warranty on that item.
No, those items are not warranted. Well, they were, but it's run out. They give you that 2-year, 100,000 miles, but we've never we always go past the years, not the.
And I'm just curious, what's the useful life remaining on that truck?
Oh, that's our 2018. We'll have that in service for years at this point. We probably will have that in service for, let me think, and our replacement plan for the front line for engines is 12 years. And then for backup, we would love to get another at least 10 out of that. So we have quite a bit of time left with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any additional questions? All right, Tom, let's move to the health department.
Okay, we've got Deanna here to talk about condemnation that has come up a few times in the last 6 months or so. So there's one of those transfers and then a few others. The list on page 11 just refers to the transfer form on page 16, which has more detail and explanations, but I think Deanna can probably talk us through those now. All yours, Deanna.
Thank you, Tom. Good evening, everyone. So we do have a request for $10,000 from contingency to carry us through the end of the fiscal year to continue providing the relocation services. We've had another fire since I've seen you last. So this is to carry us through the rest of the year. We've also, I'm not sure if you were, we also provide eviction services. When there's an eviction, municipalities are required to store, to provide storage services for people. And so last fiscal year, we actually had a delay in getting invoices that ended up having to be paid at the beginning of this current fiscal year. So we're looking for an additional $15,000 to make up for the remainder of this fiscal year. And then we've had overtime expenses occurred because of a vacancy in one of our critical positions. And so we've had several staff members covering and then having to work overtime. So we're requesting a transfer from the wages and salary regular to the overtime, and the rest of that deficit and overtime costs are going to be carried with a grant to help support that. And then the rest are some other items related to office supplies, copier machine repairs, and some purchase of some new uniforms for our staff.
Deanna, one question for me, and then I'll turn it to the group, and it's really more a process question. On the second line item, the $15,000 to cover eviction-related storage costs, things like that, is it really right to put that in other grants and contributions as the line item? Is there not a more appropriate accounting line item that should be aligned against?
You know, that's the line that's been used for a long time, like way before I became the director. So I just sort of carried over what had been done in the past. But if there's a more appropriate line, you know, I'm certainly, we can look into that if that's your guidance.
Okay. Tom, Jared, I'd ask just at some point we look at that. I mean, I don't want to hold up a transfer for that, but I think in the spirit of having better historical accounting and data, that would be useful.
Yeah.
Additional questions?
I could look
I'm sorry,
around
go
it, but also it's not, it's relatively simple to create a brand new account for that. If this is here to stay and it sounds like it will be, then, you know, we should probably do that.
Okay. Other questions for Deanna?
Yeah, Ed, this is Troy. Real quick, on the first two items again, I know there was a number of fires, and it's great that the city provides the service. But we've asked this in the past. Do you go after how successful are we going after the owner's insurance to get repaid for some of this stuff?
I'm going to pass it over to Bill Mooney, who's our assistant director of health. He can give you we did recently get some money back to support this line item, and Bill can tell you a little bit more.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's not quite that easy sometimes. Depends on the cause of the fire. If we can charge the owner if it's an illegal apartment and it's unsafe, that type of thing. If it's a fire that's started by, you know, an accident, or there was no violations on the house where there's an accident, or often it's by the tenant, we don't really try and seek it because it's not the fault per se of the owner or negligence on their part. So it's kind of hard to go after them in that sense. We did have an illegal apartment where we were able to recoup $4,000 from the owner, but that was illegal, and it was very easy to go about doing that. But when there's no fault on the part of the owner, it's difficult to try and recoup it.
Even if the owner is renting the building, he's going to put in for insurance to get repaid on the building, right?
I imagine he is, but the way the Relocation Act is written, it says that if we can only charge the owners up to $4,000 for anything that they were responsible for. It's just the way the Relocation Act is written. We went through Corp Counsel about it, and that's what they arrived at in terms of the definition and the ability to be able to do it. I understand where you're coming from. I mean,
yeah, I mean, he's going to get money back to pay for the fire damages, and then he should. Okay, that's something we should look into because we've seen a lot more of these this year, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing no additional questions or comments, all in favor of the transfers as presented this evening, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The transfers are approved. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you,
Moving
everyone.
right along to section C of our agenda, other business. The first item is a capital appropriation request from the fire department for $17,100. The second is just an update on the contingency tracker. Can I get someone to move these items for discussion and approval, please? Thank you, Kendrick. All right, Tom, I don't see anything in my packet with wording around the special appropriation. I don't know if we need to read that into the record.
It should start on page 18.
Okay. Well, we don't need to read the whole request into the record. It just needs to show as part of our package.
Yeah, it's the originating document is a letter from Mark going into a bit of detail on what's required. And then there's a letter from me recommending approval and and a letter from the mayor recommending approval as well.
Yep,
But yeah,
okay.
but Mark is still on the line with us, and he can take it here. Just as an aside, if you're wondering why this isn't in section A, which is, I'm sorry, section A, which is number 2 on the agenda, that's special appropriations. That's just for operating budgets. So when it's special capital appropriations, that goes in the other business section. Just in case anyone was wondering.
Thank you for the clarification.
All right, all yours, Mark.
Okay, thanks, Tom. So these two capital budget items were from when we replaced the roof at Station 5, our Meadow Street firehouse. We came in under budget by 17,100, and it's been in our two accounts. The reason why it's two different accounts is they first went out in 2000, they first went out in 22, and then we realized it really needed to be fully replaced. So we saw additional funding, and we received it. So what we're trying to do is take this overage and move it over for Station 1. What we have is an issue there with our apparatus floor. That's a building that was built in 1964, I believe it is. It's the original floor. That floor has been settling for years. What we've noticed is there's now quite a bit of movement in the floor when the trucks enter and exit the building, because that's a drive-through building. So there's two edges they go through. I brought in Bill Ireland from building department, and he absolutely agreed that it needed to be replaced immediately. So the best option that we have is what we did is we contracted. He said it was actually an emergency job that we had to do immediately. We got approval from the purchasing department to contract GZA, their geotechnical engineers. And what they're going to do between GZA and they use AV Tucci in town, they're going to do test bores in the slab and around the building to make sure to basically ascertain what the appropriate scope of work it is we're going to need in order to fix the slab, whether it's helical piles in a new slab, or it's holding the slab in place, or basically taking the slab out and just regrading underneath and compacting properly. So it's actually worked out well. GZA was about 16,000 and change, and so we figured that we could move this money forward to the next project. And then we can get a true scope of what really needs to be done, rather than just guessing on this because it's a little bit more complex.
So just to be clear, the funding here is to scope the repair. There will be additional cost for the repair coming to us at a later date.
Yes, what they're going to do is these test bores are going to give them the idea of what needs to be done, and then he's going to draw up the drawings and a proposal, and I'll be able to come back with a definite number and a definite basically a definite route to take to fix this issue. Like I said, the movement has gotten worse, so we definitely need to fix this. We don't know how big the void is underneath that floor right now.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Additional questions for Mark?
Just a quick one. Is this why we don't have an RFP for this GZA deal, or?
Yes, that was when I had Bill Ireland come out. He deemed it an emergency repair that you just need to get this done. We need to figure out what's going on with these trucks, because we really can't relocate them, that whole firehouse. So I brought it to we found GZA, who does a lot of this work, and I actually brought it to Bill Ireland and Alan Lowe, and they both agreed. Yep, that's a great company to use, and Sharon approved it in purchasing as an emergency repair. So I was able to just move forward, and we're going to use them moving forward. And again, like I said, they'll use AV Tucci because that's one of the companies that they mainly use. And when you're dealing with test bores and possible helical piles and possible work, that's not just a normal, that's not a normal job. That they work very closely together, those two companies. It's not just an excavation company anymore.
Okay.
Additional questions? All right. All All in favor of the appropriation request, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The request is approved.
Thank you.
Good luck with it, Assistant Chief.
Thank you.
All right, Tom, I'll turn it to you for the contingency tracker.
Yeah, so that's on page 21 of your packet. I recall that after last month, we were at a balance of 563,000. And we just approved 25 for Deanne, so that will bring that down to 537 or so. So coming into the end of the year, we should still have at least 500 grand to be under budget. So yeah, that's all there. So
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, moving right along, we're into the additional information section of our agenda. And I believe, Tom, this month we start with Lisa and the tax collector's reports. Is that correct?
yeah, yes, and I think Alan will probably remind me that it might be time to switch back. He's been after Lisa for a number of months now, but or at least this one more. Lisa, you go first. Go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Thank you. Good evening. We are reporting this time on our April figures because we haven't yet closed out the month of May. So what is in your packet beginning on page 22 is our narrative and our spreadsheet through the month of April, through the close of April. We were at that time at 98.13% of our adjusted levy, which was right where we needed to be. The update that I can give you, that will go up for May, of course, when we do finish May. The main thing that I did want to bring to your attention was our work on the sale, because as of this report, which was written on May 6th, we have since gone up. We had collected 2.9 million on the sale as of that date. We are now today up to 3.4 million just on the sale properties. We still have 134 accounts in the sale. We started out with a number and then we added some more. We also, so you are aware of it, we are working with the building department on accounts that owe significant amounts of blight fees. There's approximately $400,000 in blight fees that we're trying to collect on their behalf through the tax sale process, because Connecticut state law provides tax collectors the ability to enforce blight fees in the same manner as real estate property taxes that are past due. So we've done this in the past. We've included blight fees that are very significant and that have gone through the notification and appeal process through the building department. We include them in the tax sale. So that was an additional $410,000 in blight fees as of May. We're going to probably be putting the properties online and posting the boards in the lobby sometime later this month. Between the 2nd and 3rd weeks of June, we're trying to time that around the billing, tax bills going out. The bills right now, we are starting to get them on our system. We don't have them at the printer just yet, but we still have time. We're hoping to get them out as early as we can so that we can avoid the types of lines that we had last summer. But I will caution that it is complicated by a number of factors, including, if you recall, last summer we had a motor vehicle billing issue and we owed a number of taxpayers credits from last summer. So we have to ensure that we are giving those taxpayers the credits that they are entitled to. And we are also doing the phase-in for the real estate billing. So those things have complicated it just a wee bit. But we are working with, of course, the assessor's office and the software vendor to try to get this in the works over the course of the next several weeks. And I'd be glad to answer any of your questions either about the sale or about anything else. June is our busiest month because we're closing out the 1 year and we're starting up the next one. So everybody thinks it's July that's the worst, but it can actually be June if everything is going well. So I'm glad to answer any questions that any of you have.
Questions for Lisa? Lisa, no questions at this point. Thanks for the updates. We look forward to next month's update as well.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right. I guess, Tom, at this point, we can move to Alan, and we haven't kept him here for 3 hours, so we've got to at least be a little happy about that.
Yeah, 7:02, Alan, you gotta be happy, huh?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for granting me 30 minutes to wait. I won't say it's an all-time record, but I think it's getting there. So, as I say, last but by all means least, we are now in our 10th month at Oak Hills Park in the month of April, 2 more months to go. So the month of April, we have year to date. And if we look, we look at revenue, we look at expenses, and then what's our bottom line for the month of April. We did, turn out to be a good month for us. So I'll explain some of the reasons why. On the revenue side, we were budgeted to do $188,000. We ended up doing $247,000 worth of revenue, a $59,000 increase over our budget. And just so we know what the reasons for that is, we actually we had an outing which brought us $10,000 worth of revenue. We don't normally have outings in April, but we did have one compared to what our normal, Monday revenue would be. Our golf revenue, because it was such a nice month weather-wise, was $28,000 over what we budgeted. And our ID cards caught up. We got $19,000 ahead of budget, but on a year-to-date basis, we're on budget. So we caught up. That gave us the majority of our revenue. On the expense side, we budgeted to spend $178,000. We actually only spent $175 for this month, so $3,000 under on the expense side. So that gave us an overall, for the month we were supposed to make $9,000. We made $71,000, so we were $62,000 to the good for the month of April. So where does that put us after 10 months, with 2 months to go on the revenue side? We're $1.6 million was the budget. We're $1.75 million. We're actually $136,000 ahead on the revenue side compared to budget. On the expense side, we are at $45,000 over what we said we'd spend. We are experiencing some increase in benefit costs. Some people that weren't on benefits are now on benefits are changing, and some other areas to increase that. You do a little more business, you can have a bit more payroll. But overall, basically, we were budgeted to make $155,000 after 10 months. We're actually making $246,000, so we're $91,000 on a bottom line profit ahead of budget. So. And these now, obviously, the month of May, the month of June are two of our really strongest months. So we would hope to finish strongly. Those are the financials. Are there any questions on the financial aspects of either April or for where we are after 10 months?
Alan, this is Troy. How's the restaurant going? I've been there. It seems to be.
That was my next point, Mr. Gillette. I always know you're very interested in it, may I say. It's building, and I think the good thing is we have the liquor license. We're open, which is in itself great, as we all know. It's open. We do need to look at tweaks as we go into. We need to talk it up. We need to get more people in there. I've been there a couple of times, and the business is growing, but there's definitely room for it to grow. There's a couple of things that on the menu that says coming soon. So we need to either take off the coming soon, or we need to get them on the menu there. I think there's been some good feedback that I've heard overall. I think they're open. I think the attitude of the staff is really good. They're friendly. And I think we'll do maybe some tweaks on the menu, whether we need to add, fries to the burger but these are tweaks. And I think we need to get the feedback from members as to what they're looking for, what can we do. But on the whole, I am happy with the direction it's going.
Great.
And that's my report.
Any additional questions or comments for Alan? Alan, thank you. Wishing you good weather for the month of June at this point.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our agenda. Therefore, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank
Motion
you,
to
Kendrick.
adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you all. Have a lovely evening, and I'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a
Thank you.
good night.